By popular request, today I'm comparing the Soundpeats Free2 Classic to fan favorites like the Haylou W1, FIIL T1 Lite, even Soundpeats' own Truengine 3 SE, so there's a lot to talk about in this video. Let's get started right now. Selamat pagi! Good morning everyone, Kenneth here and welcome to my final video of the Soundpeats Free2 Classic. As you know, in this channel we go through the sound quality, build, battery controls, latency and my test later, so basically as in-depth as I could get here, so make sure to watch until the end or use the chapters if you need to. But as always, my full disclosure is down below, which reads I always give you my own honest opinion, and let's get started with one of the most important aspects first, the sound quality. Now in my top earbuds under 30 bucks video, I talked about how the sound quality basically destroyed the competition. But to be more accurate, those were more like under 20 bucks earbuds and the Free2 Classic was like 25. And then in the next video, I told you that the Soundpeats Mini, which is like 5 bucks, 10 bucks more expensive, is actually slightly better. I'll link the videos down below, but my point is, I just wanted to keep your expectations in check. And today we're going to see how well the Free2 Classic compares to the best sounding earbuds practically under $50 right here. So let's get started right away with the orchestra version of Orange by 7 Oops. I picked this song because not only we have a full band playing, but also we have an orchestra on top of it. And I wanted to give you a general idea of the differences in sound quality in respect to pricing as well. And starting with the volume, it really is quite loud for the price. Just pay attention to the volume bar right here as I'll listen to other earbuds at the same loudness and you'll know the difference later. But let's talk about the sound signature now. And I honestly really enjoy the sound if you don't know already. First off, it is typical Soundpeats to have plenty of power and presence in the low end, so the bass guitar is prominent. Every bass kick is palpable. And then we move on to the mids where we got clear and defined vocals, pianos, which is also a factor that I really like with the tuning here. Moving to the upper mids to trebles, the Free2 shows a good presence of strings and guitar solo. They never feel harsh or piercing. Overall, a very good sound for the price here. Then we got these more expensive earbuds, and what kind of improvements do you get? Well, at $10 more, the 35 bucks FIIL T1 Lite offers similar volume level, which is actually a surprise to me since the FIIL T1 Lite was quite loud back in the days. And also sound wise, we all know that this is a clarity focused earbud, so right off the bat you don't get as much punch in every drum kick or presence in the bass guitar, but it gives more clarity in the upper mids to treble. This means you hear more of the vocals, you hear more focus on the snare hits, piano, strings, all without being piercing or unpleasant. And at this point in time, I found another surprise is between Free2 and FIIL T1 Lite, the soundstage is actually quite similar. Now moving up to the Haylou W1, which usually costs 40 bucks here on AliExpress. If you have watched my review, I actually like this better than the FIIL T1 Lite since it brings a nice upgrade in 1, soundstage, and 2, dynamics. So the soundstage improvement is pretty straightforward. You'll instantly hear the instruments to be more spaced out instead of being confined in a small space inside your head. But what about the second improvement, the dynamics? Well, by that I mean you are getting the powerful drum kicks of Soundpeats and the clarity of the FIIL just like into one. So it's not a choice anymore. You are getting both sounds and more detail, instrument separation. Everything is just a step up. The Haylou W1 gives me goosebumps every time towards the end when the solo vocal is followed by the full band and orchestra. And just to give you a little example, the ride cymbal on the Free2 Classic is quite mild. You don't really hear it much and you can hear it about right here at your right eye, but then the Haylou W1 brings more clarity to it, extends the projection, so you hear like the hit is happening at the tip of your right ear. That's one of the many things that's good about the Haylou W1. You can hear the individual guitar plucks, the transition between closed and open hi-hats, and despite everything, the vocals are always at the forefront of the mix. All that said though, loudness is something that the Haylou W1 can't brag about, as the Free2 Classic packs a good 2 to 3 clicks more. I still don't see this as a problem, it goes loud enough for anything that I do, but again it comes down to your individual preference and this might not work out for you. Finally, as the most expensive entry at 45 bucks at the time of recording, the Soundpeats Truengine 3 SE offers similar warm and bassy sound signature. After all, they're coming from the same company. But here it improves upon the detail and soundstage. Don't mistake me, the Free2 Classic is already amazing, but when things get crowded, it will start to show its limitations, especially in the chorus with strings and everything in full effect. Some instrument details like the snare hits, cymbal crashes, these mid to high instruments suffer. This is what you'll immediately see improved on the 3SE. So not only the bass guitar and the drum kick that's prominent on the Free2, but the snare hits, the tom-toms become more distinct and impactful. You even get the same right cymbal hits going all the way to the tip of your right ear with the 3SE, and there's a surprising amount of treble detail that's unaffected by the strong bass, which is exactly why the 3SE has been very well recommended over the years. This gives a warmer representation of the song without any loss of detail from the Haylou W1, and it goes slightly louder as well, which is nice. So yeah, hopefully you get the idea of how the Free2 Classic sounds now. If you appreciated the video so far, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also help me out if you want to buy anything by clicking through the links down in the description below. This very simple step will help me support the channel in a big way, so thank you very much, and let's get moving into the next important aspect, the build quality and fit. Honestly, most earbuds under 50 bucks have just okay quality. So while the FIIL and Haylou are more expensive, the build quality is actually not much better than the Free2 Classic. In fact, one might see the leather textured plastic here as a better design. But no, this feels cheap, the others also feels cheap. The soft touch matte texture, especially on the 3SE, is objectively better. But features wise, you get the same USB-C charging port, a lid that holds itself open, but you only get one LED indicator instead of the multiple LEDs on the other earbuds. But let's move on to these earbuds themselves, and we see an even smaller difference since they are all excellent IPX5 water resistant build. Speaking of which, the FIIL T1 Lite is an exception here since it sports IPX7 waterproofing, but it's still all plastic compared to the Free2 Classic that has a bit of metal mesh covering the microphone here, whereas on the Haylou you got a shiny stem design with metal mesh covering the drivers inside, and the 3SE is probably the most fancy of all here with some metal accent on the touch panel and a transparent plastic that lets you peek at the dual dynamic drivers here. Now the Free2 Classic fits very well, just like the Mini and Mini Pro. It's got the same small triangle-like shape, so it gets support from the back of your ear in addition to the ear tips. This is arguably more comfortable than the FIIL T1 Lite that has a more rectangular shape. And yeah, the others fit very well too, because these are some of the best earbuds under 50 bucks, remind you. Although for the 3SE, I sometimes hear complaints that this is too big for some, so maybe you can consider Free2 Classic as a more suitable alternative if you have smaller ears. Now speaking of controls, as you can see on screen here, these are perfect as you expect from the company. You get all the controls, including volume and touch sensitivity is just spot on here. I really have no complaints whatsoever, but do keep in mind that the LED will light on whenever there is no media playing. But this time it's not super bright anymore, maybe thanks to the metal mesh here, so it's not as annoying at nighttime. And finally, about the battery life, this is something that's excellent for the Free2 Classic since it can play for 8.5 hours at 50% volume. This is quite rare in the sub $30 price. And yeah, with the FIIL and Haylou, you can get up to 6 hours of playtime, and since the 3SE is much bigger, it naturally sports bigger battery as well, and these can play music for a whopping 10 hours. Then as for the case battery, you get 300 mAh on the Haylou, 350 on the Free2 Classic, 400 on the FIIL, which is amazing considering its tiny size. And finally, the 3SE surprisingly only has 500 mAh despite having such a bulky dimension here. Now finally, talking about connectivity, while the Free2 Classic has no Qualcomm chip, so no gaming mode, no special codecs whatsoever, but during my use, I see no issue whatsoever. The dual mode connection is always solid. You can use one or both earbuds effortlessly, and you can expect a normal connection range just like any other Bluetooth device. And yeah, if you want gaming mode, then the FIIL and 3SE offers that, or you get a simple app support for FIIL. But what I regard as the gold standard here is both the Haylou and 3SE packs QCC 3040 chip, which means solid connectivity and an extra bonus codec aptX adaptive as well. Anyway, let's finally check out the latency and microphone test, and we'll conclude the video right after.
will start by saying these have some really nice improvements, but they got a couple of issues as well. So we're going to run through it all today. As usual here, we're going in depth. Let's get into another big gear review.
Welcome to the microphone test. If you want to see the indoor call test, head over to my Soundpeats Free2 Classic versus mini comparison video. I tested already right there. And yeah, this is my usual outdoor test scenario. We have the wind blowing actually at this side, so it's not affecting this in any way. Because for sure it cannot handle the wind. But yeah, you see there's a lot of cars and motorcycles just like the side thing right here. What do you think of the sound quality? And we'll compare it very quickly to the other earbuds.
Alright, so here we are with the FIIL T1 Lite, and first things first, while talking like this, I immediately noticed that I hear more of myself through bone conduction, because probably this uses an oval-shaped ear tips that seals the ear canal better. So yeah, let me know what you think of the sound quality. It's actually my second time recording this. Not the best when it comes to microphone quality, but let's move on to the next earbuds now.
Alright, now we are on the Haylou W1. What do you think of the sound quality? This is a STEM design, and it doesn't support AI noise cancellation whatsoever, just the normal CVC 8.0. But yeah, let me know what do you think of the sound quality. And yeah, let's move on to the final earbuds. And boy, this is the Soundpeats Truengine 3SE, and we all know how this is going to go because this is really notorious for the bad microphone quality when outside. I mean, it's not too bad. You probably couldn't hear me back when that motorcycle passed by. So this is only usable indoors and not very much outdoors. But yeah, so that's pretty much the quick microphone test. Let me know what you think, and let's get back to the video now.
I hope you see why the Free2 Classic is a great earbuds for the price. In a grand scheme of things, you are not losing much, but if you can spend a bit more for the FIIL, Haylou Truengine 3 SE, they do offer significant upgrades in their own ways, and yeah, it comes back to your budget and preference. I just hope this video would help you make the right purchase decision. So yeah, let me know down below which one is your pick. Don't forget to use the affiliate links and follow me on the social media to get a quicker update on what's coming next. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenneth, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.